Fran. We're doing this together today. Dr. Anne, Timitokwe, and Godwin, Uncle Femi, and also the wise man, Adam. All these guys are on LinkedIn. If you are connected, if you are on LinkedIn, you can reach out to them. They are always happy to help, to support whatever journey you're in, whatever skills I'm sure you want to develop. They can always help you, either link you to a coach or hold you by the hands through interview prep, whatever you want to get to do. Reach out to them on LinkedIn or reach out to Agile Disciples website. Dr. Anne, over to you, ma'am. Sorry, Dr. Fran, over to you, ma'am. You're talking on
Thank
mute.
you so much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Design Thinking Session. Ashwinee, thank you so much always for taking your time to just pour on us all the knowledge you have and just make sure that, we are there learning and just being in the space where the current environment is rolling. So we don't take this for granted, Ashwinee, sir. We really appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker today, our Honorable Ashwinee. He's always been here. Last time we had the class for value stream mapping, which was very valuable. And today he's going to pour to us about design thinking. So Ashwinee is a safe SPCT. That means he's SPC trained. He's Agile HR enabler and experienced Agile coach consultant. He's passionate trainer on safe IC Agile with a demonstrated history of working in retail, mobile, industry, automation, banking, and networking industries. So having said that, Ashwinee also has a strong background in engineering. He's really skilled in Agile methodology. We know those are SAFe, Scrum, XP, and Kanban. His technical practices go through test automation, connecting with and collaborating with stakeholders and management. And he has a vast experience. He has over 20 plus years experience in different organizations of different sizes. And he has trained close to over 3,500 people on SAFe certification. That is great achievement there. He's a strong believer of business agility and helps organizations to navigate through digital disruption. And how does he do this? He wants the business to be utilizing the principles and practices of lean, agile, and system thinking. So those are his key beliefs. As we are doing business agilities, he expects or he wants the organizations to follow those principles and practices. He's also a continuous learner. Ashwinee has a professional certificate in coaching, that is ICF PCC, from the ICF Federation, the International Coaching Federation, and an MBA in consulting management from BITS and Pilani schools. So I'm going to just go ahead and welcome Ashwinee to our session. That is his great introduction. As you guys can see, he has a wealth of knowledge. He has a wealth of experience there, and he's just pouring this to us. What do you guys say? If we need to know something, if we need to have knowledge on something, we have Ashwinee on our back all the time. And so take it away, Ashwinee. The floor is yours. Welcome.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, Ashwinee. You're talking on mute.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure to work with Divine and his team, Agile Disciples, right? So with that said, let's straightly get into what is design thinking, why design thinking, and how we can actually leverage design thinking for our benefit. So that's what we are going to do. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Hope you all can see my screen. So I have this title as Mastering Design Thinking. Again, idea is, we can all master something. Right? So I don't think, within next 1 hour or so, we are not going to master anything, but we'll start our journey towards the mastering part. Yeah. So some thoughts and what are we going to do today? While I have very less slides, I'll talk a little bit. And towards the end of it, we'll also have a small exercise together as well. Yeah. So this is about me. I think this has already been told, so I don't have to go through that one again. Yeah. So with the short time that we have, we will quickly overview what is design thinking, what is the process of design thinking, right? And some key principles, and we'll dwell into this. What are those key principles? And as always, if you're doing something, there should be a benefit, right? So, what's the benefit and impact of design thinking? Some case studies, and this is where I have actually two videos while we are going through, right? So I'll also just make sure that whenever I kind of run the video, we are using that one. So yes, Divine.
Thank you very much, Ashwinee. We know it's 5 a.m. where you are, and we appreciate you once again. Just wanted to tell the house that when you mentioned the fact that we might not be able to master anything, that after this, you're going to be having a master class for us, the same way you did, Ashwinee did for the value stream mapping. We had a master class that was really, really educative and very, very deep and detailed. Even though we could go the overview today, at the end of the training, sir, the Agile Disciples will be giving away 3 free tickets for those that would be attending the master class. So I think that there are some questions that will be asked after the training today, and those that gets it correctly, they would have opportunity to get the tickets to attend the master class for free. I just wanted to mention that so that everybody can pay attention and looking forward to
Sure.
what we'll be celebrating. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Divine. Yeah. So if you look at certain things that we see on a day-to-day basis, right? Some of the things look very kind of merged with our life, right? And it could be as simple as aesthetic of a building, or it could be the door handle that we are using, right? So some of the things you kind of say you go to a foreign country, say something like that. I mean, you go to a foreign country, you don't know the name, sorry, you don't know the language there, but still you are able to do certain things the way that you are doing, say opening a door or kind of going through a route, right? So you are able to do it very easily. You don't think too much about that one. If you are able to do it very easily, you don't think too much about that. But think about a situation where there is a signboard which tells you certain things and you are now confused. So what does it mean? It means that anything that is not designed very nicely will show its face, or I mean it will kind of cry that okay, I'm not designed very well, right? So you can't use very well. But if something is designed so well, it kind of is very intuitive. I think most of us here are from a generation where smartphones and computers were not a reality, right? So till I mean, we became a certain age, we have not seen them, right? So for us, most of the time, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, if there is a new application on a mobile phone, we still struggle a little bit, isn't it? We still struggle a little bit to get master over that one. But I think, I mean, whoever has smaller kids here, you understand that. I mean, if you give a mobile phone to a kid, they were born with it, so to say, right? So if the kid is within 10 years or so, I mean, mostly they were born with a mobile phone in the hand, right? So they can use it very easily. It is so intuitive for them to utilize, right? So we are talking about something, a human-centered design approach, right? Where we are kind of understanding the need and desire of the human being, the user. Yeah. When I say needs and desires, many a times we will not be able to clearly articulate that one also. The user will not be able to clearly articulate that one also. So what we want to do is don't want to give a solution that I believe is the solution. Rather, I want to kind of give a solution where it's about the other person, or it's about the user, right? So we kind of understand them deeply and then understand their motivation to use certain things. I'm being very, very generic because design thinking can be applied anywhere, right? So it doesn't have to be software. It doesn't have to be like for a particular product design. Yeah, design thinking as a philosophy can be used anywhere. Yeah. I think I have a small video now, right? So which is talking about a kind of usage of a design thinking. Yeah, let's look at this video. And by the way, I think uh, this is from
Tonight,
this is from a company called IDEO, which actually popularized and familiarized many people on what is design thinking. Yeah, let's actually look at this video. This is a little longer video, 8 minutes, but it kind of talks about a lot of concepts around how do you design a great product, right? So pay attention to what they are talking, what the people who are doing talking. So they mostly talk in one liner, saying that this is what we do or this is what we don't. Yeah.
tonight, the deep dive. One company's secret weapon for innovation. We went to IDEO, the product design folk, and said, take something old and familiar, like, say, the shopping cart, and completely redesign it for us in just 5 days. ABC News correspondent Jack Smith tells us what happened next.
9 in the morning, day one, and these people have a deadline to meet.
So welcome to the kickoff of the shopping cart project.
This is Palo Alto, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley, and these are designers at IDEO, probably the most influential product development firm in the world. IDEO has designed everything from high-tech medical equipment to the 25-foot mechanical whale in the movie Free Willy and the first computer mouse for Apple. Smith ski goggles, Nike sunglasses, NEC computer screens. Hundreds of products we take for granted.
The point is that we're not actually experts at any given area. You know, we're kind of experts on the process of how you design stuff. So we don't care if you give us a toothbrush, a toothpaste tube, a tractor, a space shuttle, you know, a chair. It's all the same to us. We want to figure out how to innovate by using our process, applying it.
Project leader is Peter Skillman, a 35-year-old Stanford engineer. Project leader because he's good with groups, not because of seniority. He's only been at IDEO for 6 years. The rest of the team is eclectic, but that's typical here. Whitney Mortimer, Harvard MBA. Peter Coughlin, linguist. Tom Kelly, Dave's brother, marketing expert. Jane Fulton-Suri, psychologist. Alex Kazaks, 26, a biology major, who's turned down medical school 3 times because he's having too much fun at IDEO. Safety emerges early as an important issue.
22,000 child injuries a year, and so they're hospitalized injuries. I mean, there are many others.
And theft. It turns out a lot of carts are stolen. As the team works, it becomes clear there are no titles here, no permanent assignments.
And the other side says, gives us a lot of help, says, be safe. I'll give you a big red ball on a post, and that says you're a big guy. If you got a ball, you're a senior vice president. You know, what do I care? The desk, the red ball, it's all the same. In a very innovative culture, you can't have a kind of hierarchy of here's the boss and the next person down, the next person down, the next person down, because it's impossible that the boss is the one who's had the insightful experience with shopping carts. It's just not possible.
The team splits into groups to find out firsthand what the people who use, make, and repair shopping carts really think.
Okay, go.
The problem with the plastic cart is the wind catches it. Yeah. And these things have been clocked at 35 across the parking lot.
Oh,
Man.
that's actually a pretty good point. The trick is to find these real experts, and so that you can learn much more quickly than you could by just kind of doing it the normal way and trying to learn about it yourself.
From everything I read, these things aren't that safe either, you know? So probably the seat itself is going to have to be redesigned.
One of the interesting things for me is looking at how people really don't like to let go of the cart, except for the professional shopper, whose strategy is to leave the cart at various places.
3:30 in the afternoon, and the group is back at IDEO. There is no let-up.
Each team is going to demonstrate and communicate and share everything that they've learned today.
A shopping cart has been clocked at 35 miles an hour traveling through a parking lot in the wind.
We were in the store, 2 hours, and And it was truly frightening just to see the kind of stuff going on.
You ought to designate some people to make damn sure that the store owner's point of view is represented.
After 9 straight hours, the team is tired. They call it a day.
So,
everybody cool?
Well, that's great. Thanks a lot. We had a great time today.
IDEO's mantra for innovation is written everywhere. One conversation at a time. Stay focused. Encourage wild ideas. Defer judgment. Build on the ideas of others.
That's the hardest thing for people to do, is to restrain themselves from criticizing an idea. So if anybody starts to nail an idea, they get the bell, you know.
The ideas pour out and are posted on the walls.
Oh, the blind, the privacy blind. Like when you're buying 6 cases of condoms, no one sees. If it doesn't nest, we don't have a solution.
Organized chaos. It's not organized. What it is it's focused chaos.
Vote with your Post-it, not with an idea that's cool, but with an idea that's cool and buildable. If it's too far out there and it can't be built in a day, then I don't think we should vote on it. Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of lone genius.
Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of the lone genius. If anything sums up IDEO's approach, that is it. Worried that the team is drifting, what can only be called a group of self-appointed adults under Dave Kelly holds an informal side session.
4 or 5 teams. 4 or 5 teams, and we give each team a need area. It becomes very autocratic for a very short period of time in defining what things people are going to work on.
If you don't work under time constraints, you could never get anything done because it's a messy process and go on forever.
Back at the shop, it is 6 o'clock, and the 4 mock-ups are ready for showing.
Baskets also can be, if you think you will have more volume, baskets can be put in.
A modular shopping cart you pile hand baskets onto. A high-tech cart that gets you through the traffic jam at checkout.
That you could mount a scanner on the shopping cart so that you as the customer, as you pull it off the shelf, would scan each item.
One that's built around child safety, and another that lets shoppers talk to the supermarket staff remotely.
Yeah, where can I find a yogurt?
But the adults, again, decide more work needs to be done before the mock-ups can be combined into one last prototype.
Why don't we have all the carts come up here for a second?
I think you take a piece of each one of these ideas and kind of back it off a little bit and then put it in the design.
The design is still not there. But there's another motto at IDEO: fail often in order to succeed sooner. And some of the team will be up half the night trying to put together a design that finally does work.
There it is! There it is! So we took the best elements out of each prototype.
The cart, which is designed to cost about the same as today's carts, is different in every other way.
What do you think?
Well, I'm very proud of the team. I think it's great.
Does this work for you?
Works for me great. It's also beautiful.
The cart's wheels turn 90 degrees so it can move sideways. No more lifting up the rear in a tight spot. And you shop in a totally different way. The bags are hung on hooks on the cart's frame. Remember, there is no basket here.
At first, I was a little shocked, but I think you have some fantastic ideas here. It needs a little refining, but I think that it's great. I mean, we would want them.
She also gave us some really good comments about how we can make this thing better.
A lot of hours. Also, an open mind, a boss who demands fresh ideas be quirky and clash with his, a belief that chaos can be constructive, and teamwork, a great deal of teamwork. And these are the recipe for how innovation takes place. This is Jack Smith for Nightline in Palo Alto, California.
Okay, anybody has any thoughts on what kind of stuck you most in this video?
For me, what stuck most is the diversity of the professionals or the knowledge, because they were not all IT gurus. Everybody came with their own skills and their own knowledge to just come and, have something going on.
Yeah, it's just like this room, right? So of individuals from different areas and different experience, expertise, and maybe geographies as well here. And each of us will have different experiences and expertise. Yeah. I think, I mean, when on an agile team, when we talk about a cross-functional team, I mean, this is the kind of team we wish for, right? So while we talk for, okay, cross-functional and self-managing and stuff, right? So it's not the theory. I mean, it's the practicality of this one, which is what we wish for. If I kind of want to have an analogy to what we are doing as agile designers, right? Okay, let's get quickly into, okay, what's a process? By the way, design thinking was popularized by IDEO. Stanford School has a lot of good courses, again, very costly as well at the same time, right? So they have those courses which kind of takes people and does it as well, right? So that's just from an academic interest. And this is the process they say, right? So the design thinking is seen as a 5-step process. First and foremost, you empathize with the users. If I want to tie back to the video that we just saw, if you look at it, right? So they were always, I mean, talking to the users, right? So they were not sitting in a room. Yes, I mean, they were sitting in a room, but at the same time, they were also going out once in a while, checking with the users. And remember, I mean, one of them actually took a lot of photos as well, right? So just to make sure that what she saw is recorded. Yeah. You are trying to understand the perspective of the users, need of the users, and how do you do it? You go talk to the users, or you just observe the users, or you do the work as well. Rather than asking the users, maybe you start using the shopping cart so that you understand, okay, whether it is easy to use or not so easy to use. Once you empathize, you will define the next steps. I mean, what is the problem statement? What are we here to solve? Because one thing that happens when you empathize with the user is each one will have their own stories, right? Each user will have their own stories, their own problem statements. I mean, you want to kind of bundle everything together, combine and say, what's the real problem that we are trying to solve? And this is where you will try to see what is real problem, what is noise, or maybe some of the problems may not be worth solving as well because only very few people might have that problem. Yeah. So you define the problem statement clearly. Then you generate a lot of creative solutions. I mean, this is where whatever ideas, video set comes into force, right? So this is where, I mean, what we are saying is, okay, we are getting a lot of ideas. I mean, maybe, I mean, some of them are very wacky ideas are also, right? I mean, out of the box ideas also. I mean, we are trying to get some solutions using those ideas. And you don't keep on building forever. Rather, I mean, you build prototypes. I think, I mean, when we talk about MVPs, minimum viable products, the most of the thoughts, I mean, some of the thoughts have come from design thinking philosophy as well, right? So whatever you have today, just push it out to the user and make them use it. Maybe it's not completely refined. It's perfectly fine, right? Maybe some parts of it, I mean, users have to manually do it. That's perfectly fine, right? So kind of build some rough representation of what is required. And sometimes it can be just drawings also. I mean, you kind of draw and show to the people. Yeah, you can also do that. And once you do that, you kind of keep testing it out. And is it a linear process? Not really, right? So you don't, I mean, while there are 5 steps, I mean, we talk about in design thinking, it is not that, I mean, you go one step after the other. I mean, you can, many a times, I mean, you might skip steps or you might want to go back to the steps also. Think about this one. You build something nice, show it to the users. Users might have a lot of feedback. The moment you have a feedback, it means that, I mean, you are kind of going to go back to empathize with the user, right? So really understand what is their need and understand and come back, right? So you can keep going back and forth on these process steps. Again, this is what IDEO and D.School talks about. If you get onto a safe class, I mean, we also talk about design thinking as a double diamond process as well, where we are trying to understand the problem in the first diamond and trying to solve it in the second diamond. Yeah. in our masterclass, I mean, we'll also dwell with a few more philosophies of design thinking as well. But this is fairly good enough in terms of being with the users, understanding them, defining their problem statement. You're ideating and building something and constantly testing. And that feedback is from you, from the customers, and I mean anybody who can be involved. Right. So you kind of test is a constant pace. I mean, it is not that you do test only at the end or you do it at a certain level. No, you keep doing it. Right. So let's talk about some key principles of design thinking. Again, these are little generic in terms of we have to be human centered. End of the day, I mean, we are here building something for humans like us. So we have to empathize on what is their need, right? So what's the user's need? That's a first point. The second part is about being iterative. I think again, if you look at an agile philosophy, that's what we do, right? So we kind of iterate on what we know, get the feedback, okay, do it again, right? So we keep experimentation, iteration, and we are rapidly prototyping as well. Collaborative. When I say collaborative, I think Fran mentioned that there were people of different and varied backgrounds, right? Even if not of varied background, I mean, we have different expertise and experiences, I mean, when we are building. Even in our day-to-day work, even from a software perspective, I mean, if you look at, or any product development, if you look at it, it's a collaborative effort. And if I'm building something, I would have few product managers, I mean, who kind of are very good at getting or gathering the requirement. I would have scrum masters, I mean, who are good at facilitating, who are good at making those events happen, making those things happen on the ground, right? And we have developers and testers and designers, I mean, who are kind of actually building the product. I mean, if you give them a piece of requirement, they'll make sure that they can put everything to them, right? So we have that. And we also have architects, I mean, who are good at building a system, and they're also good at looking forward to what is coming up next, right? So think about the collaboration that is required even on a small scrum team. When you're having around 10 people, there is a lot of things going on back and forth. And if you can apply this one to scale, think about the collaboration that is required, right? Say maybe when you are trying to come up with a new mobile phone, right? So the kind of vendors, developers that you need, the kind of user requirements that you need to understand and master, right? So that's about the collaboration. And last two parts are very important. Bias towards action. We are not planning forever, right? So when you are talking about a design thinking philosophy, you're not planning forever. Whatever small thing that you know today, you just keep doing it. Right? You just keep doing it, get the feedback from the end customer, user, or whoever is our audience. And while doing it, one thing you have to be very clear and very good at it is embracing ambiguity. There are a lot of times when there is uncertainty, or there's a lot of time there is no answers at all, right? I think, I mean, even if you look at the shopping cart and then you go to a shop or a supermarket, there are 100 type of users, right? So each one will have their own understanding of what they need in a cart. I think, I mean, that's what they kind of called out also, right? So there were a few people, I mean, who wanted X. There were a few people who wanted Y. Somebody wanted a kind of a scanner machine. Somebody wanted child safety. Somebody else wanted the shopping cart to be easy to rotate through the alleys, right? So you're talking about facing that ambiguity and making sure that, I mean, you kind of come out good out of that ambiguity, right? So don't think, I mean, these are the only key principles that we want to have, but mainly these are the 5 key principles I gathered over a period of time as well, right? So when you are talking about a human-centered design, when you're talking about involving your customers into what you're doing, this is what happens, right? Let's quickly talk about some benefits. Again, I'm not going to read too much, but it's about satisfying the customer. End of the day, you are building something for your customer. I mean, they have to be satisfied. If you want them to come back to you, they have to be satisfied. This is where it goes. And innovation, it's about building something new which is useful, right? End of the day, I mean, the users have to feel and believe that this is better for me. And final two parts, you're solving a problem. Maybe how do we tackle complex problems? When user says, okay, I want X, or I'm not able to do certain things, right? So how do we solve their problems, right? And at the same time, how do we make it so seamless so that there is an efficiency? In the sense, as I said, the good designs don't come out as well, because good designs seamlessly integrate with your life, that I mean, you don't feel like you're doing something different, right? And again, before talking about some of the case studies, Airbnb, Apple, and Procter & Gamble, I'll just play another video where a company called Nordstrom, which is a high-end retailer, right? So they used design thinking in designing finding a problem, finding a solution for a small problem that they kind of faced. Yeah. We'll go through this video. This is also a very nice video. We'll go through the video, come back for the case studies. And once the case studies are done, right? So let's get into a small exercise as well as a small groups. Yeah.
I'm JB Brown, the Nordstrom Innovation Lab Manager, and this is the lab. We work on 1 week experiments. Somebody will have an idea and we'll find a way to figure out how to prove if the idea is going to work. And this week, the Innovation Lab is going to be building an iPad app with customer feedback as we go through the week. We wanted to work in the store to make sure that we were getting customer feedback as we worked, so that we were never working on anything that wasn't valued by the customer and only doing things that are delivering value. So we'll be building a feature and testing it until we get to the point where we have something that's good enough that we can just leave the iPad app behind and have this new thing that customers can use.
This is the world's first flash build. It's a flash mob where a software team shows up and builds an application in a surprise location. This is the Nordstrom Innovation Lab, and we're at the flagship store in downtown Seattle. Right now the team is just setting up their equipment to get started. We're going to build an iPad app that helps customers pick the best pair of sunglasses for them. We really don't know what the features are yet. We're going to use customer feedback as we go along throughout the day and the rest of the week in order to build the best thing.
So the next thing we're going to do is a user story map. So we're going to sit here and together outline all the steps the customer would take, and actually even beforehand how they buy sunglasses, like what are the different things that they might do and how that process might change if we have this application. And then we'll actually dig into what we have to build in order to support that process.
So now that we've done a card mapping, we're going to do a paper prototype, and this is something that we commonly do in the Innovation Lab. It's a great way to show what we'd like to do in a rough prototype that we can easily throw out, change, alter based on feedback from the customers. I'll continue building individual paper slides, and our user experience specialist, Tel, will bring the prototype to a customer and say, okay, I have this app and this is a paper version. I'd like you to kind of use it like you would normally use an app, and you can press things, interact with them, and then she'll change out the pages based on how the customer uses it. So it's a similar experience to the iPad, only an analog version.
So it's day 2, and we have our first working prototype of this app. And how it works is I take my first pair of sunglasses, put it on, take a picture, all right, and then I want to compare it to this other pair I've got right here. Put these on, take another picture. I can just hold these up like this and see which one I like better.
Well, Tel and Kim have been talking to people and doing paper prototypes. We've been coding, building an iPad app. We take a stab at something, we look at the paper prototypes that Kim put together. We might take one at a time. Usually we come to the board and we grab the most important feature and we start implementing it. The really cool thing with this flash build is that we have actual real customers. Just today we delivered 4 or 5 different separate features, and I deliver it, swap the iPad with Tel. She'd go and talk to a customer, and 10 minutes later I had feedback from real customers about this thing that I delivered, and it changed how we did the next thing.
And it's been really, really great watching day to day what they've been doing, the team, to get all the feedback from the salespeople, the feedback the salespeople have gathered from the customers. And it's a really interesting process to kind of come in. On Tuesday, we had no idea what this would look like. There was an idea that somebody had to say, people take a lot of pictures of themselves with the sunglasses. It'd be cool if we could show them side by side to help them make the process better. And that was the idea, that was it. They came in, they had nothing built, and they've been building this literally on the spot throughout each day. And by now, we actually have an app, a functioning app that they can go through. It's very intuitive to help look at themselves and make the sunglass selection process easier, which is pretty cool to watch.
So yesterday, the sunglass buyer for Nordstrom came down to check out our progress, and she happened to put on polarized glasses and then held up the iPad in portrait view and was surprised that she couldn't see anything because it was black. And we figured out that the polarization of the iPad running up and down and the polarization of the glasses running vertical cancel each other out. You don't see anything. But if you turn the iPad to landscape, you see perfectly fine because the polarization of the two items line up, and it's okay. So it was a pretty good find to be in the store, and she just happened to put on polarized glasses. And so today, first thing we're going to do is switch it to a landscape design and then lock in the aspect ratio of the iPad so customers and salespeople just naturally pick it up and use it in landscape and not try and go to portrait.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what we've been working on the last 5 days. We've added quite a few features over the week. You take a picture, multiple pictures of the customer, and then you can pull them up. You tap the first one, you can see it larger, and then tap the second, and do a side-by-side comparison of each glass next to each other. We also added a feature where you can rename the picture, because we heard from salespeople, if a customer's trying on quite a lot of glasses, it's helpful to be able to know what order they were taken in, and also rename if you want with the brand or some distinguishing feature about the glass. Another feature we added was the ability to zoom. You can zoom in and really get a good detailed look at the frames side by side. Also, to see one of the pictures larger if you want to just better view of one frame. You can flip the camera view as well. Face it forward so the salesperson can take a picture of it like this, or you can flip the camera like so. Take a picture of yourself facing forward. And then at the end of it all, we have a button called New Customer, which just erases all of the images and allows the salesperson to start with a new customer.
We're just trying to put the final touches on the app. Tel talked to a lot of users, and they said that when we went into the compare view, it was unclear where the pictures were coming from and which picture was which. So the animation here is trying to solve that problem, make it a little more clear what's going on. One of the challenges with software is when are you done, right? And I think the answer is really, it depends on how much time you have. At least the most important things got done. So this was time boxed to a week, and we did a week's worth of work, and it seems like what we have now is something that makes customers happy and addresses the main problems, and something that we can track, we have metrics on. So I think we're gonna call that a day.
The application has developed so far. Everything's finished, everything that we've asked for, and even the little roadblocks and glitches that we kind of stumbled across as we used the app during the week has been solved. I think that it's going to be really easy to be able to implement into our sale, and I think that we're going to find a lot of success with the application, whether it's via a selling tool for us or if it goes public into a downloadable format. Whatever happens, I think this was generally quite a success.
I want to hear from some of you. What do you think about this? Maybe what is different than you do day to day?
I think for me, what I'm seeing is quick feedback, and you can easily, go ahead and implement that change or the requirement. You see it, firsthand working there, and it's happening. So you are changing it quickly and being able to have that user experience towards the product. So you are giving value to your customer by really going ahead and producing what they really want and what fits their needs. That's my thought process.
Yep.
I think somebody is thinking what I'm thinking, Ashwinee, but everybody in the house has been quiet. I'm not sure if they're sleeping or they're there. Somebody else want to say something from the house, please. That might just be the ticket for the masterclass.
Yeah. And also you see two customers there. I mean, it is not the end customer alone that you are helping as a developer, but it's also the store manager you are helping to, right? And if you see the feedback, either it is coming directly and you're just watching and observing the people using the sunglasses. I mean, that's one thing. Another thing also you see is, I mean, indirectly it is coming. Store manager is telling something about the customers, right? So you are getting some indirect feedback there as well. Yeah. And sometimes even you go and talk to the store manager and get to know about the customer. Sometimes you go to the customer and talk to them to get to know about the store manager, right? How they can actually improve and stuff, right? So it can be multiple ways. End of the day, many a times, I mean, you are also behaving like a customer there in the store, right? I mean, you maybe constantly you ask a question of about to yourself, if I am a customer here, what would I like to have, right? Again, let's for a moment forget that I work for Nordstrom and I am actually building something. For a moment, I will forget about that. You come to the store to pick up a glass. I mean, what will you like? What will you like to have, right? Or if that particular store manager has a particular app, how are you going to use it, right? So think about from a customer's perspective as well. Yeah. Because none of you are talking too much, I think I should kind of send you to a breakout rooms, right? So what I'm thinking now is, I'm going to make 3 groups randomly do maybe 3 breakout rooms, right? So, or Divine, I mean, if you can help me make 3 random breakout rooms. Yeah. So I just pasted a URL in the chat window. Yes, Godwin?
Sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I see another hand raised.
Yes, I also observed the hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm Bukola. I also observed that they also added matrix also to track I can't remember what they were trying to track, but I guess like is the increase in usage of the app they were actually trying to deploy, right, for sunglasses hut. So I noticed that also at the end of that. So I'm presuming like they must have measured before starting, and then after the whole should I call that exercise, or after the whole project, the time box activity that they did, they also had to measure to see if it was successful, I guess.
Yeah. That's true. So what we are going to do now is in the room, right? So you have a URL, right? So Miro code, I have given a URL, and this is how it looks like. I mean, you can either use that one, or I mean, you can also talk to talk to people and I mean, kind of have your own way of putting it together things also. What you have to do is, in the frames available, I think we'll have 3 teams. Team 1 can use this place. You can actually go to the bottom of the screen and do a zoom to get it bigger for you. And you can also click on this arrow mark to make it editable so that you can actually start pasting some thoughts. You can use the sticky notes, take any color and start putting your thoughts. So with the limited time that we have, I mean, maybe around 15 minutes, right? What I want you to do is think about a problem statement, right? So think about a problem statement which you have encountered in your work, or it might be something hypothetical also. It's perfectly fine. Think about a problem statement. And if there is a problem statement, how will you approach it from a design thinking perspective? What are your new thinkings? Again, you don't have to go step by step that, okay, I'll talk to these people, I'll get these ideas, I'll do some testing and stuff. You can go randomly, right? So if you have some problem statement today, how are you going to tackle after this class? Because I mean, you know few things about design thinking. You have watched 2 videos also how people usually try to kind of find out a better solution, right? So what will be your thought? So when we come back, right, so after 15 minutes, all you're going to say is, and again, in few liners, what was your problem statement and what does your board look like now, right? So we'll just have a quick look at your boards. Hope you had some good time. I think, I mean, it looks like, right? So team 3 had this problem in the payment app and they kind of identify, I mean, how do we identify processes currently unfriendly to user? And they kind of are going to use focus groups, interviews, and surveys to come up with and do some prototypes. And finally, I mean, maybe to kind of design a rewarding system, right? So that's what they want to do. And I think team 2 also had some things here. Okay, they are trying to find a healthy meal for the college students, right? So they also have a few steps identified. How do we gather the information and then refining our problem statement, and again through making sure that it's the right problem that we are addressing, and prototypes, right? Yeah, and I think team 1, were you able to talk to yourself and come up with some ideas and thoughts around what are you trying to do? I guess so, right? See, ideas, I mean, think about this. You listened to me
Yes, we
for.
did.
Okay, nice. I mean, what was your problem statement?
So we were on our mobile phone, so we couldn't write anything down, but we talked about
No problem.
generating the ideas, going to the client to get the idea of what the client needs, then
Sure.
a problem statement of what needs to be done, then the design, making the design, ensuring that there is harmony between the different people on that in the group. Then once the design, the concept has been going to the client that are using the product, and also having empathy, using the product itself to understand what the issue is that the client is trying to, that the customers are dealing with. Then going back to the drawing board, making a prototype, going through the design and making a prototype, testing it out, constant feedback ensures that you're able to make something that is fit for purpose, and also how to throw away any ideas, because ideas, based on the first example that you showed us, they pull together different ideas, different designs to actually make a single product that fulfills the need of the client. Very important. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. And by the way, I mean, you kind of were here not even for an hour, right? So we kind of looked at some concepts, right? We quickly got into, I mean, I think Divine made some groups of strangers, right? So maybe, I mean, you may not know everyone on the call, but within the 15 minutes that you were given, you were able to come up with some quick ideas, right? I'm not saying, I mean, they are the best ideas or they are the right ones. I mean, it doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter whether you have the right way and approach. You have started. So within 15 minutes, I mean, if you are able to kind of figure out, okay, there is a problem statement here. I mean, let's tackle that one and also come up with a few quick tips on how are you going to tackle it. That's the first step. That's the right step as well, right? So that's the intent of design thinking. That's what I wanted to show. This 15 minutes in the room was not about mastering or knowing what is design thinking. It's about, okay, we can actually get together quickly. I mean, if we can keep our biases aside and kind of focus on one problem statement, there is always a way for us to get things better. Yeah, that's the intention of the exercise. Yeah. So I have only 2 more slides. I mean, it just talks about what are the tips, right? So again, leadership support is paramount. If you are doing this one, I think your leaders should also be kind of educated, and they should also be part of it, right? So that's a first and foremost thing. I've not put it out in any order or preferences. As we always talked about cross-functional teams, assemble the diverse team with the different knowledge and the background so that they can put their perspectives. End of the day, it's about the user. It's not about you. You might be able to build something awesome, but It's about solving the user's problem and helping them achieve results, right? And last two ones, iterative approach and continuous learning. They go hand in hand. Idea is to kind of keep doing things, rapid prototyping, refining ideas, and coming out with our biases, adding users, comments and feedbacks, and continuously learning on that aspect. So what I want you to do after this, right? So I think all of us at Agile Disciples, this is what we want you to do, right? Start applying design thinking principles in your day-to-day work, right? So it may not be everything, right? So everything may not fall in place at one step, right? But you can always start small, right? So I think we talked about talking to the users. Maybe, can you pick up a phone and talk to one of your customers? If it is a mostly a B2B, it is even more easier, right? So business to business kind of situations, it's more easier, right? So maybe you talk to the account manager and try to understand the problem statement. Or maybe, if you're developing some product, maybe use that product by yourself as a customer, right? So that might be useful. Or think about a real life scenario where, you might be using it, right? So these things could be that. And whenever you have a problem statement, now, don't, many times, problems are too fuzzy or too unclear. Think about what is that in the problem statement that you can work on, start working on. Start working on that small step, try to create a prototype or a proof of concept, and maybe go from there, right? So that kind of is about unlocking creativity. When you say unlocking creativity, you don't have to be a genius. You have to really think, both from strategy and the tactical standpoints. In the sense, why are we building what we are building is very important. Understand the intent behind building something, and then how are we going to help the customer, right? So I think, these two questions of why are we building what we are building and how are we going to help the customer? I think these two questions, if you are able to constantly ask yourself, you'll be able to build better products. Yeah. By the way, I can be reached out at this email as well, or you all know how to reach out Agile Disciples. I think they can also help you to reach me. You can also connect to me on LinkedIn. You can just search for Ashwinee Kalkura. Maybe I'll just share my LinkedIn address as well. By the way, this is all I had for today, but as Steven said, we are also going to have a master class.
Thank you very much, sir. One more thing before you go, sir. We just indulge you to quickly help us be the judge at this brief bonanza. What should we call it now? For those that will be giving those that will be getting the free ticket for the master class. So during the class we had 1, 2. So we're just gonna have 1 minute for anybody that is representing the group, a number, answer the question. If you pick 1 to 8, answer the questions. I think we throw a little more light into it. You just have 1 minute to answer the question. If you miss it, that's fine, but let's know those that will be winning the ticket today. Representative from room 1, just pick any number 1 to 8, please. A representative from room 1. While you're thinking, if you want to, any representative from room 2, pick a number. Don't worry, they're simple question.
Anywhere.
What room is that, please? Any number 1 to 8.
Room 1, yeah, I'm in room 1.
Okay, 1 to 8.
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Any number from 1 to 8. I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
Number 1 to 8.
Okay. 7.
Number 7. What tools or resource do you recommend for teams looking to adopt design thinking methodologies? Because I don't know the answer to. I'm not on the masterclass, so if you don't get it, that's fine. Actually, we should look into like forward. What would you say about this?
Divine, your voice is really breaking.
Yeah.
Okay, my voice is breaking. 1 minute.
Your audio is not clear. You can remove what you're connected to.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the question is, what tools or resource do you recommend for teams looking to adopt design thinking methodologies? I said I don't know the answer. Tife was the one that said these questions. I don't know where she got it from. But trust me, if you miss it, Ashwinee is here to help us out with it.
So you
Just
supposed to
in 1
answer the
minute.
question, is it for group 2 members or
This
since
is for
everybody?
group one. Group one. Group
Oh.
one picked this question.
I thought it was group 2.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that so many options out there, right? You know, so if you are diving into the empathy, understanding the users, you can definitely use a journey mapping or empathy map, definitely for sure, to kind of help understand the space, their environment, how they are currently doing things. You know, also, you know, user interviews, right? That's also very valuable.
Yeah. Gemma work is also something I would recommend. Did we hit the nail there?
Ashwinee, you're the judge. What would you say, sir?
Yeah, that's see good enough, right? So the tools and resources are, I mean, just a tool. That's all, right? End of the day, having an open mind and making sure that, I mean, you are listening rather than just talking yourself, right? So that's good enough. I mean, if you ask me, right?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. And thank you, James. So, group one, we would be more than happy if you just send a message to Agile Disciples Group. Thank you, James. Thank you, Coach Tutu, so that we could send you your ticket for the masterclass. Thank you. Group two, anybody from group two, pick 1, 2. Number 7 is gone. You have 1, 2, 8, apart from 7. Anybody from group two?
Sorry, what is James's last name?
Oh, Divine, this is James Otutu.
Uncle James, no. Uncle James, I didn't know it was you. I got that voice, and this is Coach James. Is when I just got into the game years ago, it was one that held me by the hands after I left. I know. I'm like, oh, James, no, we don't want to see here. But thank you very much. We are really happy and privileged to have you here, Uncle James. I'll call you after this event. All right, let's go ahead. Group two, please. Somebody from group two, please. You want to pick a number, 1 to 8. Let's do this fast. We have a few minutes to go home. Anybody from room 2, please? Okay, since there's nobody here, anybody from room 3? Room 3, your turn.
Number 3. Okay.
I was thinking 3, 2, 3 or 5.
3, because we're number 3.
So did you say 3?
3.
Okay. What role does empathy play in design thinking, and how can we cultivate it amongst our team members?
Anyone?
I think would help us to understand the problems from the perspective of the users or customers. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, Bukola. And it'll also help us. We can go go further down and break it into the user persona and understand and empathize deeper with the customer and use that in creating more better user stories. And that will help with delivery team, development work and building, testing, and all of those.
Trini, do you want to throw more light to that, sir?
Again, empathy is the basic of design thinking in the sense you always listen to the customer. I mean, you kind of try to get their viewpoints in multiple ways, right? And as I said earlier, right, so maybe keeping ourselves mouth shut for some time and actually listening to anybody who is on the team also might make sense, right? So how do you cultivate it among team members? When you say, okay, we are open for discussion, we are open for ideas, maybe be really open in terms of not telling your ideas, but rather listening to the others, right? So maybe, I mean, that might help.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anybody from room 2? If there's nobody from room 2, Chichi, it's nice for us to give that credit to Bukola for our attempt. So Bukola, congratulations. You can reach out to us on Agile Disciples to get your ticket for the masterclass. Uncle James definitely is giving his ticket away to Coach Chichi. Thank you, Uncle James. Now, anybody, any other person, either room 1, 2, or 3, can just pick it a number randomly, any number, just the last number before we go today. Between 1 to 8, apart from 7 and 3. Anybody?
Sure. Number 8.
Uncle James says number 8. How do you ensure that all team members, especially those from non-design background, feel included in design thinking process?
Yeah, I think I kind of asked a question in the chat earlier, so if people look in their chat, it might help a little bit. I think it's in alignment with this question right here.
Yeah, I just saw the question. How do you design, how do you integrate design thinking into an organization that is new to it? Thank you for the question. Now we are asking the question. Anybody wants to take a stab at it?
Ashwinee gave us the answer. You just have to educate.
Yeah, when we talk about, again, make sure that the team members have a say, or make sure that, I mean, there is a psychological safety for people to talk, right? So not everybody knows everything, right? So that's the truth. Yeah. Even the SME on your team may not know everything about that particular product or a process. Yeah. You might be good in design, somebody might be good in process, somebody might be good in a technology, somebody might be just good in actually getting all the things together and putting it in one, again, one format, right? So utilize the skills of that individual. As you saw in the first video, there were biologists, right? So while designing a cart, I mean, there was a biologist, I mean, there was an MBA person, there was a project manager, and none of them actually were as such card designers, so to say, right? So they were all coming from different backgrounds. All they had is the curiosity to understand the problem and try to figure out a way to solve it.
Yeah, and I like that you said, Ashwinee, give them psychological safety. Even by removing the hierarchy, you can also give them the psychological safety to be able to talk openly and give their ideas. Because if there's hierarchy, then they think like, oh, the boss or the manager is the one who's supposed to do A, B, C, D.
Yeah. In the first video, you saw him talking. IDEO's founder, David Kelly, he was talking about, okay, there is no titles here. I mean, if you are a VP, it doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah.
And probably stressing the importance of the multifunctional team, because everybody brings a different POV.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for today. We are 2 minutes past our time box. Our last event for Agile Disciples is going to be on a Friday, 20th of December. And that's just a time to celebrate. I'm sure you're going to be getting more details from us soon, just for us to celebrate and and give thanks for a beautiful 2024 and also projecting towards 2025 for you to know what we have in store for 2025. However, I really want to thank Ashwinee for his support. We're going to be having a masterclass. Of course, we'll communicate that to you because of the holidays. We just want to make it probably in January. You'll get to know about it. And trust, Ashwinee is giving us almost next to free for about $10 for us to just attend about 4 hours training on design thinking overview. And for the value stream mapping, I'm super excited because I'll be coaching some of my leaders in my organization on Thursday based on the learning from you. So I appreciate you, Ashwinee, and also or every other person. Nobody will tell you to do this. Just find a way to implement it in your organization. Get to do it. Till next time, I would like to hand over to Dr. Fan now. Over to you, Doctor. Uncle James, thanks for coming today. We really appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys so much for coming today. I really appreciate, you know how we can be reached in our social handles. You can reach us on LinkedIn, on, all the other social handles. If you have any questions or any concerns, just go ahead and reach out. Please look out for the masterclass coming up in January, and then we expect to see you guys in December for our last session of celebration. So as always, thank you so much. And, we have a full packed year for you guys in 2025. Ashwinee, thank you so much for always pouring into us. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day, good weekend. Yeah.
Bye.